Hey everyone, it's Jorg. Welcome back. I hope you're doing great wherever you are in the world. Today I want to talk a little bit about you're getting that rental property. You need to satisfy at least that 12-month lease if you're going to be moving to Portugal to satisfy pretty much every visa that you would be applying for. And something that I've talked about or alluded to in prior videos, but I want to reiterate this to people, and I wanted to dedicate this particular video just to this topic because I got off the phone with 11 people, a few couples and some single people that are moving to Portugal, or they're going through the process. They're at scouting trips at the moment of making this video in Portugal, looking at properties, and they've asked some questions about what should I be looking for. I've made videos about what to think about with rental agreements and just things that you want to make sure you have in that rental contract so you don't have any gotchas at the end. And mostly so when things like your deposit and whatnot, you have a better chance of getting it back. That's what this video is going to be talking about right here. When you are looking to secure a place, and this is why it's super important to have your eyes on it, or if you're going to have, let's say if you're going to do it sight unseen, but you're having the real estate agent look at it for you and like vet it for you, or you have another third party, it is super important to make sure that they photograph and video everything for you. Anything that could potentially be damage, so that when you are signing off on a rental agreement, you have peace of mind knowing if you do something wrong and create damage for the property, you're not going to get your deposit back, or you'll get less of it back. But if you leave it in the same condition, the property that you got it in, you acquired that, you should get your rental deposit back. So everything from photographing anything that is seen, and I mean nicks, scratches, scrapes, paint missing, mold, those are more the walls and the structure within the flat. The floors, if there are wood floors, many of the flats that you may look at will be floor hardwood. Take pictures if there's any dents or grooves or issues with the flooring, so that, again, when it comes time to leave that property, you have a better shot of getting your full deposit back. Appliances. Let's say the oven, it wasn't cleaned. Take a photo of that, so that way you can show up front, this was the condition I got it in, so I am going to leave it in the same condition, meaning you don't have to clean it. The more subtle things that I would look for are things like mold. So if you have an unfurnished apartment, it's easier to see if there's any mold on the walls, but I would look underneath all the sinks in the kitchen, bathrooms. Also the appliances, looking when you open the refrigerator, looking at the lining of the refrigerator, the liner of the washer. Usually most clothes washers will be front loaders, so you open them up, put the clothes in, versus a top loader, it'll be a front loader. Often those can be moldy, so you'll want to take a photo or video, again, just to show when you're ready to leave that you are leaving it in the same condition that you got it. Those seem to be the major issues. If there's any leaks, for example, if there's a faucet when you're looking at the property and it's leaking, I would take a video of that, so that way you're showing that, if the leak gets worse or if there's something goes on, the landlord may need to fix that. Paying attention to the ceiling to see if you see any water spots, anything, especially if you don't necessarily have to be on the top floor, but if you're on where there's a roof or just a floor above you where it may be the neighbors, making sure that if you can identify usually some yellowing on the ceiling, sometimes it can be brownish, it might be old water stains or spots, you're going to want to document that and photo document that, so that way there isn't any issue again at the time of leaving. Often you can have trouble getting your deposit back. So because of that, you want to be able to minimize your risk as much as you can. So document it all. I have this practice, my wife and I, when we travel, whether it be regardless whether in our home country or traveling abroad, when we get a rental car, we will go around the car. Usually they'll say, do you want the insurance or do you not? Some places you have to get the insurance. But whether we get it or not, we usually video or take photos of any scratches, dings, anything that might come back to bite us when we turn the car in, because we want to be able to show the representative, hey, this is the condition that we're getting the car. We're going to leave it in that condition, but it has some issues. Same thing for the property, the flat that you're going to get. And the reason I say this is many of you are looking at that 12-month lease. But some of you are going to sign off on a multi-year lease, a 2-year lease, a 3-year lease, or longer. So if you're going to do that, it's vitally important, because there may be what might be called normal usage, but wear and tear on the property. You have to discuss when you get the property with the landlord what the tolerance is between normal use and what's considered damage. If you have a furnished apartment, so let's say we want a property that the furniture is already there for you. This is going to sound maybe a little weird, but let's say there's a dining room, 4 chairs at a dining room table. Sit in all of them. Are there any issues with the chairs, the dining room table? Any nicks, scratches, problems? Bed. I'd lay on the bed, both sides of the bed, and just see, are there any issues with that? Any chairs, a couch, like the living room, like a sofa, television, does the television work or not? Microwave, if their property has a microwave. Anything of that nature, I would certainly check out, because I'm saying this because of the people that I talked to recently. The reason that they were asking me that question and they wanted me to make a video specifically about this is because they had talked to some of their friends who had nightmares about, they left a place they thought in pristine condition, and then there's a $500 deposit or a $2,000 deposit, and sometimes more, a higher deposit that just the landlord took. And there was no recourse, because it's just a he said, she said argument, because there was no documentation of what was wrong. Also, along with video or photo evidence, I would highly recommend, as you're looking at the property, going around and on a piece of paper, writing out what the issues are, and depending on what language you speak, I would type that and translate that. You can do a Google Translate it into Portuguese and your home language, so that you have a document, an addendum to that rental agreement that shows in your language and in Portuguese, here's the things. Maybe there's nothing wrong with the property. It's walk in, move in ready, there's no issues, and you love it. But if there are problems, you want to make sure that they're all spelled out, so that hopefully you don't have to go chasing this money, and you get your money back, and you move on to another property. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch these videos, and enjoy your travels.